welcome to another episode of Let's Talk with Greg and
Thomas.
I like doing that. I don't know, it's just so fun.
It's fun.
So happy New Year, y'all. It's first episode of the year.
Yeah.
How's your New Year going so far?
It's not too bad. I mean, got a day of work, so that's
Yeah,
nice.
I know, same here, just chilling. I'm just working on my New Year's resolutions. Like, do you ever do New Year's resolutions?
Not really. I find a resolution, if you commit to something, you're more likely. I don't know. I always find when I try and commit to something, it just doesn't work out.
Hmm.
Whereas if I just think of stuff throughout through the year, I'm more likely to do it. I don't
You
know. Like,
know, I sort of share the same thing because like for me, I have some goals that I want to set, but like if I let's say one of my goals is going to the gym and like taking care of my health. If I don't go to the gym one day when I'm supposed to, I'm not gonna make a big fuss about it. I'm like, okay, well,
right.
I'll just go to the gym when I'm supposed to go next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do it like that so I don't like beat myself up. But yeah,
Hmm.
some advice, y'all. Um, what really sucked though was yesterday, like was New Year's Eve. We're recording on
Mm.
January 1st, and Betty White died.
Yeah.
Like we can't go into 2022 with one good thing, with her turning 100. Oh, it sucks. Did you ever watch the
Yeah.
Golden Girls?
I actually didn't.
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
yeah. I think it's more of an American thing. Like
Hmm.
I mean she's sort of known in the UK, but not so
Uh-huh.
much in America. Not so much as here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bit very very big
Yeah.
icon
She was
here.
literally
I've been
only
told.
she was literally
Yeah.
only like 17 days away.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
But they're all united up in wherever they're at. Um, all right, so today we are going to be talking about climate change with the awesome William Compton, who's running for Congress in Kentucky's second district. So let's go ahead and get on with that conversation. It's going to be an interesting one. All right, so we're going to go in to dive into our conversation with William Compton. William, thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk. How are you doing today? Happy New Year.
I'm doing well. It's been an interesting day out here in
Mhm.
Kentucky, and Happy New Year to you guys as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, William is running for Congress in Kentucky's second district. Um, Tell us a little bit about your district and what your platform is and how your campaign's doing.
Yeah, so the second district in Kentucky, you guys know that some of the congressional maps are a little crazy. We're kind of this weird middle section that goes up to touch Louisville and kind of goes around and up to the top of Kentucky. Currently, we're still waiting to see what our current state legislator does with our congressional maps, which will be interesting. And we're just kind of that middle section all the way through Fort Knox and three big cities, Owensboro, Elizabethtown, and Bowling Green. Our campaign, we've been getting a lot of positive messages from people who really want to see someone different in this seat. Our current representative has been there since 2009, and not much has changed. So a lot of people have really liked the fact that an educator and someone young is trying to take the reins.
Yeah, oh, yeah. According to your Twitter bio, you're a music educator. Do you teach music?
Yes, I do. I teach string orchestra and I help out with our marching band.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I could use your help in music theory when I took it. So before we dive into our main conversation, which is on climate, I want to share this clip with the audience. Um, Kentucky was already hit with a bunch of tornadoes a couple weeks ago, and so to give you some context of what we're going to talk about, here's the news clip.
In Kentucky, unrecognizable. This second-floor apartment completely blown away by the tornado, with Jennifer Locke still inside.
I heard the train coming. They say that sounds like a freight train, so I heard the train coming. And I just hunkered down and stayed there for a little bit until it passed. And then I was stuck. I was trapped in my bedroom for 2 hours until they came.
Christopher Hudgens is combing through pieces of his brother's home. It flew off its foundation and came crashing down.
So your brother and his wife were inside the bathroom when literally the house was lifted off the ground.
The entire house was lifted off of the foundation.
In hard-hit Warren County, the death toll is now at 11 and climbing. Hundreds of homes and businesses flattened as a powerful tornado unleashed winds of 150 miles per hour. It traveled so fast, Frank Withrow and Vicky Boards barely made it out alive. Family members showing us how they survived.
His dad was actually in this room right here trying to get out as well. And as he got up off of the couch, the whole wall just collapsed on him.
In nearby Western Kentucky University, this live camera may have captured the moment the tornado made impact. The school canceled graduation ceremony Saturday. Administrators saying every student on campus stayed safe from the storm, but a young man died while at home off campus. Today, the mayor of Bowling Green sharing a grim assessment on the road ahead.
There's a lot more that has to happen. It's going to be a while before we pull ourselves out of this fully. It is a major catastrophe.
The storm hitting hard and moving out in minutes, leaving behind a massive cleanup ahead.
I never expected to see anything like this.
A community still in shock, but jumping into action to help.
And Kathy joins us now from Bowling Green. How's the community handling this disaster, Kathy? Well, Kate, even if folks haven't been directly impacted by the tornado, they want to help. Many residents are coming in from near and far, volunteering to pick up the pieces, begin the rebuilding process, even offering food and supplies to anyone who needs it. Kate?
All right. So, okay. All right. So that was crazy. Like, everything was demolished. Thomas, I wanted to go ahead and lead you to give the questions to William on this. This is crazy.
Yeah, like, look, well, first of all, I suppose you've lived in Kentucky your whole life, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I wanted to know if this is completely and utterly is this more devastating than you've ever seen, or like is this something that commonly happens in Kentucky? Do you have these occurrences happen, or is it increased over time from the time that you've lived in Kentucky, or
Well, in my time, and I'm only 28 years old, and in my time, this is the first that we've seen tornado damage like this in Bowling Green and Maysville and Dawson Springs, just all over our state. We have seen flooding since I've been alive. We've had those issues, but nothing with tornadoes until just recently.
Yeah, and I see this as a common like this happening all over. Like Colorado just had fires where 600 people's homes burnt down. We had flooding in LA station, like the whole station is flooded out in LA. It's unheard of. Around where I live, I talked to my parents this morning. They told me that it's the hottest New Year's Day on record in the UK right now. And it's
how hot is it?
It's only like I'm sorry, I'm doing Celsius. I don't really know Fahrenheit off the top of my head, but it's 15 Celsius. So for everyone who looks that up, but that is ridiculous because the UK in winter it should be zero, should be like cold, wet, and it's the hottest day on record in the UK for New Year's Day, and it just we're entering into a pattern of just increasingly gets worse and worse and worse.
Wow.
So I wanted to know, because I know from your platform, wanting to run on the Green New Deal. And I suppose the question is, how would you think that could materialize in somewhere like Kentucky?
Well, in Kentucky, we have all sorts of opportunities to build plants that use renewable energy. Uh, my big thing, and I'm glad they're doing this. Martin County, Kentucky, back in December 9th, our governor, Andy Beshear, announced a solar panel project that they're going to build, help create jobs, and start moving towards using solar energy, which is a fantastic thing. It's Martin County, Kentucky. It's in eastern Kentucky. It's a coal mining area, and they're moving away from using coal. And it's just such a great opportunity. We have the land, we have the ability to put in solar panels. We have the ability to put in stations that can hold the energy almost like batteries at nighttime. We have that space and that ability. And I think if we were going to move to renewable energy, Kentucky would be the state to invest in.
And not only solar, but wind, I
Yes.
mean, Jesus, imagine how much electricity you produce in a tornado storm. But on a lighter note, no, but yeah, it's really crazy because people think, oh well, climate change means that the coasts are just gonna flood. That's it. No, it means extreme weather everywhere. And people forget that, in these areas where tornadoes are now the new normal, it's scary. So my question is, do you think within this decade we're gonna have some real climate reform?
I I think we're starting to see people's eyes opening up that something is wrong. Uh, you mentioned some things out of the norm starting to become the norm. Uh, just this morning, Kentucky actually had tornadoes, and we were under tornado warnings this morning and this afternoon. And there's possibility of even more later tonight. It's January 1st. I mean, it's unheard of to have tornadoes in Kentucky. Like that's not something that happens.
Yeah.
And I've spoke to a lot of people who, when severe storms start to come through now, they're like, is it going to be another December 10th? Are we going to have a home? And I think the fact that people are starting to realize, oh, this is affecting me, it's going to start motivating people to get up and do something and make those changes.
Yeah, because it's the red state, and they're like, and I know like some Republicans would be like, oh well, that's just California on fire. We don't care about them, but it's happening in your state too, honey.
I actually went back and kind of looked at everything. And in 2015, in December of 2015, I was working at McDonald's as a manager before I started teaching. And I remember just out of the blue, we had one night that we had to close the store because of a tornado warning. And I remember thinking to myself that night, oh, tornado in December, this is weird. This never happens. Um, and then fast forward to 2018, tornado on December 31st in Cadiz, Kentucky. And then fast forward to this year, well, technically last year, we had the December 10th, and then we had January 1st of this year. It's just progressively getting closer and closer, and it's not normal. Something is telling us we need to make changes.
Yeah, we're always having the go ahead, Thomas. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I brought this up before. What we're going to see is we're going to see almost like a climate refugee crisis. And it's going to be it's going to be worldwide, and it's going to create hotspots on the earth where it's just going to make it so unbearably unlivable in certain parts of the world where people are going to flock and have to move and have to. It's just going to be a catastrophe. It's going to be absolute devastating. And you know, if we're going off the way that people already treat immigration around the world right now, it's not going to be pretty. I don't think people are gonna. It's like I've said, I think I've said this before, so that I think you're right about how it's going to start affecting people that normally wouldn't have thought anything, you know, wouldn't really have put it into their minds. And you got to kind of hope, I mean, it's kind of awful, but you got to kind of hope that it happens to a lot more richer people in the world, because if it starts happening to the people in, you know, Beverly Hills, and it starts happening to people in these richer areas, they might be more willing to do something. My only issue is the way that we go about doing it. Will it be an individualistic type scenario where they're going to put it on, the onus is going to be on you, like the onus is going to be on you getting an electric car, you doing up your house so that it's energy efficient, or is it going to be a systemic, change? Because the reality is, sorry, go on.
Oh, I just wanted to put that point, because it's always like when we talk about climate change, how to fix it, it's always like this, oh well, let's leave it to the consumer, let's, you know, stop buying plastic, stop, do this, do that. The consumer, yeah, is having a part in this climate crisis, don't get me wrong, we should make those little changes. However, it is the corporations and the billionaires that is polluting our planet. It is literally 5 fucking people.
Yeah.
I also
go ahead, William.
I also will say, one of the big things that I am promoting, I mentioned solar panels earlier. Our local school district, the Warren County Public Schools, we have the nation's first net zero school. It's called Richardsville Elementary. And back in 2010, they put in solar panels, both like a solar panel carport and solar panels on the actual building. And again, this was in 2010. And there hasn't really been big issues with this.
Mm-hmm.
They create enough energy to fund a teacher's salary. They're over $36,000 a year, where they just create that much that the energy company pays them for that. We're seeing in Arkansas that it's Batesville, Arkansas, where they put in solar panels starting in 2017, and they raised teacher salaries per teacher about $15,000 a year. And I think we need to incentivize these corporations to move towards that. I currently represent a small city called Plum Springs, and just outside of our city limits is a factory called Trace Diecast, which the opponent I'm going against, Brett Guthrie, used to be a board member at this business. And there are mornings where you'll wake up and you can just taste the metal in the air. And I've actually asked the city commission for an air quality test, because, and I'm going to ask for another one at our next meeting in about a week. And I'm going to keep asking just to see what the air quality is, because if something is being affected because of this factory, we need to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And that's another big thing. We just need to hold these corporations accountable, hold these business leaders accountable, because they're the ones that are causing this. And that's what I'm hoping that we can achieve with Congress. I really am.
You know, in fact, when we part of the Green New Deal, it should be going after these corporations, like suing them. Like the government should sue them. You know, they are polluting the earth. They are solely responsible for this. You know, they should be held accountable.
And I realize that not everything is going to be immediately fixed, but it's pretty sad when we have a representative who, when asked if he supported government funding to help develop renewable energy, he said no. He doesn't support that. And then when asked, do you support federal regulation of greenhouse gases? Once again, he said no. Uh, the fact that the government could be helping with this and he doesn't care, like that just tells me that he doesn't care what happens to the people in his district.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what happens to the people in my city right next to the factory he used to be a part of. And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. I am.
Yeah.
Thomas, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like for example, right, we know what's happening with Amazon and how workers died inside their own warehouse because they were forced to come into work in a natural disaster. And to me, that, you know, not only should be tried, but that it should be criminal. The whole thing is criminal. They knew that this was coming and they forced them to work. And you saw pictures from New York. You remember in New York, you had those massive floodings, and you saw people delivering food on via I don't know if it's Uber Eats. I have no idea what it was, but it was delivery apps, and you saw them doing it in the midst of a storm. And it's truly criminal that this is. So I think with any climate legislation, it needs to come with worker protections. It needs to come with, like, there needs to be like a complete revamp of worker safety laws, like worker rights laws. Like, it's just so much needs to be done as a part of this Green New Deal, or any platform regarding climate action needs to revolve around people and make sure it's safe for people to just go about their day-to-day life.
Because we already know that if we invest in green energy and green jobs, you know, there's going to be more jobs for people to, you know, go in. And like you said earlier, you said teachers saw an increase to their salaries by $15,000 because of that school going net zero. And I think that's really good. There are, you can make money off of green energy. They just don't want to.
Yeah, and I look at, again, my brothers and sisters in Eastern Kentucky, the communities that were such rich coal mining communities who now have been left high and dry, who had promise after promise from Mitch McConnell how he was going to invest in them, and now they're some of the poorest parts in our state. You know, and investing into them, like creating these plants and giving them the promise that if you live here, we're going to train you on how to keep this solar energy going. And not only would they have safe jobs, but they would have guaranteed jobs as well, jobs that will help people. And I think that also needs to be in there. We need to ensure that the proper training is there for those workers.
Yeah, I agree.
And for the worker protections, I think we also should work to connect with union leaders and make sure that they are in on that as well. Because, again, you've seen attacks on unions throughout the United States. Those people are the ones that will really make sure the workplace conditions are there for workers.
Yeah.
Well, Will, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited that, you know, someone in Kentucky like you is running, because, you know, whenever I think of the state Kentucky, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a red state. So I'm so glad and I'm so excited for your campaign. Can you I just want to use this moment for you to shout out any websites, your social media, which will be in the description below.
Yeah, so all of our social media is either Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Compton, the number 4 KY 2022. And if you'd like to go see my policies, just go to williamcompton.com. I try to keep it It's the most generic name ever. You can't forget William Compton. So WilliamCompton.com. And please, my campaign, we're only taking donations from grassroots funders. We're not taking any corporate money. So please, if anyone would like to donate, please visit our Act Blue. You can find the link on our website. Just hit the donate button. Any amount would help greatly. I think Kentucky can make this change. I really do.
I hope all the best to you. And folks, we'll see you next week on Monday for another new episode of Let's Talk with Greg and
Thomas.
all right. Well, thank you so much. You have a great one.
Thank you, guys.
Nice one.
Bye-bye.